because that means we're coming together, two different organizations, to make something really special happen. Some may say dreams come true, which is awesome. So I want to, I'm turning this meeting over to Habitat. It's their meeting, really. Deerfield Charitable Foundation and our board and the Deerfield leadership team are all so excited to partner with Habitat and also to present Habitat this morning with the new homeowners and some history about this project that we've worked on together. So, Andy Burnett, Executive Director of Asheville Habitat for Humanity.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
It is so great to be back with all of you, and what a great crowd. It's so good to see everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I was thinking on the way over here, actually when I walked into this room, I thought, oh, I've been in this room before. It was about 3 years ago. Feels longer than that because a lot of things have happened in those last few years. But we were here with all of you, and we were talking about a really exciting project that we had dreamed up. And it was, at that point, just this big concept. And it started with a neighborhood in West Asheville that is the largest and kind of most ambitious thing that we've ever done as an organization. A 98 home neighborhood in 2 phases with lots of different kinds of houses. And so we were talking about that. We hadn't broken ground on even the first phase of that project at that point. And I was here sharing that dream with some of you. And part of that dream was this idea to build a different kind of house to meet a need in our community that we didn't really know exactly how to meet. And that is the need for housing that works for older adults as they age, and how we could, meet that need as part of Habitat. And we had this idea in partnership with folks at Deerfield and the Deerfield Foundation, a whole lot of consultation back and forth with folks here about what if we came up with a really small townhome with all of the things that it takes to support somebody as they age. So, a no barrier entrance and a bathroom with all the right grab bars and all of the different kinds of things that it takes so that people can stay in a community for as long as they want to. And so we came out here, we were talking about this crazy idea with all of you and the exciting partnership and support that Deerfield and the Deerfield Foundation were extending to us to put this crazy idea into reality. And here we are, just a few years later, and that incredibly ambitious neighborhood, all but one of the houses in the first phase are now under construction or complete and sold. And we're celebrating today the last 2 of those new aging in place houses. We're celebrating with the owners who have closed on those houses and have made those houses their home. So we've got a lot to be proud of in not very much time, when we were all thinking about something else with most of our brains. So give yourself a round of applause. There's a lot of folks in here who have helped to make that happen as donors and volunteers and people who believed in a really kind of untested vision. And the thing that is really exciting to me about this, so my team, and there are several of them here, know that one of my great strengths as a person is having lots and lots of ideas. And we all know that, just one step over the line on the things that are our strengths are kind of our weaknesses. So I have this line with them that it's like, okay, this is an idea, but it might not be a good idea, right? And they've all kind of learned to kind of go, okay, is this an idea or is this a good idea? And when I think about this project and the impact that it's had, this is not a good idea, it's a great idea. And what's great about it and what makes a great idea is when it does way more good than you even thought. Like when you said, this will be successful if we do this, and then it does this, right? So we thought this will be successful if 8 older adult families find the kind of housing that they need in our community, and find a place that they can afford and feel like they can put down roots. What this has done is all of that and, right? So as we were working through the design on these units, because of the size and kind of the chance to do something a little bit new, we were able to try some new construction technologies. These, the units that you, as Deerfield, helped us design and build, also turned out to be our most energy efficient units that we've ever built. So that's an amazing and then we were working through the design on these new units, and it kind of got us out of a box that we had put ourselves in and thinking about what we were building and all of those sorts of things. And we said, this is great for older adults, but this is great for single adults at any age. This is great for adults with disabilities who can live independently. This could be a model for, we could do a 2-bedroom, 1-story, really small unit that might be great for, a single parent with 1 kid. So all of a sudden we were starting to think about all these different kinds of families and how we could design a little bit more around their needs in the same way that we designed around the needs of older adults aging in place. And so it really helped us get past this sort of design block that we had and think about some new ways of doing things. So that was this, but the real extension of this has been what the inclusion of more older adults in our program has meant for the kind of community that we're able to build. And this is something, again, that we really didn't think about. We didn't set out to socially engineer our communities, but it's meant that we have folks who are home more during the day, who are out walking their dogs and interacting with our volunteers and interacting with their neighbors. And it means that there are folks who have time and interest to sort of gather up the neighborhood kids and be surrogate grandparents and read stories with them and all of those kinds of things. It means as we're going through our homeowner education process and talking to people about how to manage their money and how to maintain their home and be a good neighbor and all of those classes that we do to help make sure that folks are successful as homeowners, that we've got people with a wealth of life experience as well as folks who are first-time home buyers, and it's really enriched that process as well. So this little idea that you were so involved in believing in and supporting and investing in has really done everything it set out to do and so much more. It's really made one of the things that's great about Habitat, the diversity of folks that become neighbors in a Habitat community. It's really made that even deeper, and that's something that we didn't even set out to do, but you have helped us do. And it's really just a testament to the power of a great idea and people who believe in a great idea. So I'm really excited to be here and share all of that with you and help us celebrate today how far we've come in this. And I want to have a few folks, I want to recognize a few folks as we get started. I'd like to recognize the Adopt-A-Lot sponsors for these houses. So Deerfield was the full house sponsor on all 8 of these houses, which is incredible. I think that's maybe the biggest single one-time sponsorship that we've ever had. I'm looking at Kit to see if she can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. But we also have individual sponsors who help us cover the cost of land underneath there. And so for the 2 homes that we're celebrating today, one was an anonymous sponsor and one was sponsored by Spencer and Carol Dewan, who are longtime Habitat supporters and board members. We have a ton of Habitat volunteers who are members of the Deerfield community. If you volunteer with Habitat and you're in this room, can you just stand up for a second? That's amazing. That's amazing. Why don't you stay standing, because I want to just see how much, if we can get everybody in the room standing up. So.
Thank you, Andy. My heart is so full today. I am just joyous to see every one of you. I did not expect such a big group, and we are just thrilled and delighted. This project was birthed slowly but surely. Years ago, when I was on the operating board, we talked about, do we need a foundation? Some of you have heard this, so I apologize if you've heard it, but I know many of you have not. We talked and really planned about, are we ready to start a foundation? And at that point, we decided we weren't. We wanted to wait until we really felt the call. Soon after that, we had 2 residents that left us with large estates. We were absolutely grateful and astounded. And we looked at each other at the board level and said, that's our sign, it's time. We need to do this. We need to look at, be good stewards of the philanthropic efforts of the residents who live at Deerfield. And you all are part of that, so we thank every one of you. The board voted on starting the foundation. We kicked it off, I believe, was it 2018 or 19, Jeff? And at that time, it took about a year, which surprised me, to do all the legal, the financial. I didn't know it was going to be such a process, but it was done well and done right. Andy referred to our meeting in this room, which was February of 2020. Y'all remember what happened in March of 2020. That meeting was called to kick off our alignment. We, as the foundation board, decided that the first move we wanted to make was to start a project with Habitat, because we know, you saw the people in the room who stood up. This is near and dear to many of your hearts here, and we know many of you have worked long and hard to support that organization. Our residents are grateful for their home, for the staff, for the leadership here at Deerfield, and the neighbors and friends that they have here in this community. And because of their kindness and philanthropic beliefs, they also supported our efforts in supporting Habitat. I will quickly tell you that I had the pleasure of sitting at a Habitat breakfast at Trinity Episcopal Church, probably, I'm guessing, it was soon after Andy came, maybe 2017, 2016. And at the time, Andy got up and spoke and mentioned something about wanting to get into senior housing. And Michelle and I looked at each other and went, we can do that. We can do that. That was before we even thought about the foundation existing. So we circled back around to that and went, okay, now we can do this. So we were very excited. We went to Habitat and said, we want to give you a little seed money. Go figure out how to do this. We know that they're doing it in Raleigh, I believe. Go figure this out. I'm telling you, they were back to us in maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 weeks. We couldn't believe it. It was like they had done their homework, ready to go. So our board voted to sponsor homes in this New Heights community. And as Andy said, I don't even think they've broken ground. We were talking about helping set up a community mailbox center where now is Kay Ponder. Kay, are you here? Okay, well, I think it was Kay who started the book. Ann Cox, I'm sorry, is Ann here? Okay. All right, thank you. But Ann Cox was our first move-in resident and is a retired librarian and has started a book library for all the children and the adults. So that's an example of how these residents are impacting the neighborhood, as Andy said. Basically, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our residents who are on our foundation board. Tim Kurtz. Tim has been, stand up, Tim. Everybody knows Tim, but Tim is very humble and is extremely important to our organization, our foundation. He works diligently to get the facts, to get things done, to organize things, and really is an invaluable member of our foundation board. We are grateful for the service of our residents. Joanne Brannon, if you'll stand, Joanne, is our other resident member of our foundation, and we are so grateful to Joanne. She has brought also great ideas, big efforts on her part to get those interests of residents presented to the foundation. So we thank both of you very much for your service on the board. I think without further ado, I want to pass on, we need to recognize our new homeowners. We are now we have closed on house 7 and 8, and we will be passing those keys today. So we're very excited about that. 8 homes with homeowners since this idea was birthed in March of 2020 when we first met and presented it to you. So we couldn't be more excited and more grateful to be a part of this with Habitat. Some of you may know that we have also committed to 4 more homes, 1 a year, in a new neighborhood, which is going to service more of the Arden area, out sort of near the airport, and it is called Glenbridge. And we have committed to 4 senior homes there as well. And I'm told, you all might want to speak to this, Andy, at the end, that they're going to circle back around to New Heights, and we may end up seeing more senior housing there, or other houses similar to senior housing for some of those efforts he's already described. So we couldn't be more thrilled that we were able to be along on the ride with this wonderful experience. So now it is my honor to ask Tim Kurtz and Bill Durant, did I say your last name correctly? Durant, to come up and have the honors of passing the key. This is my favorite part.
Thank you, Chris. It's a real pleasure to be here. My heart was full. Also, Chris, I had so many different things that I could say this morning, but I got to help because this morning, because I received an email from Habitat, and in that email, this was not just to me personally, but it was to the community in general. Individuals were encouraged to share their introduction stories, and I'm going to do that. In April 2017, a few months after I had become a future homeowner, I was having dinner in the bistro with my daughter and granddaughter. I knew no one here, and near the end of the meal, Bill Durant came over to my table, introduced himself, and we had a nice little chat. And I thought, well, that's a great thing to have met someone. I don't even remember exactly what we talked about. But I think I told him that I was living in Hendersonville, and the next week, in my mailbox, was a handwritten, longhand letter inviting me to join with him to see whether I would like to work for Habitat, either in Asheville or in Hendersonville. And I went both places with Bill. And oh my goodness, did that yield great benefits to me. That was not just an idea, that was not even a good idea, that was a great idea. I worked in Hendersonville for several years, and now I'm working in Asheville, and it has led me to join with so many others, dozens of people here at Deerfield volunteering on the job site. And we follow in the footsteps of so many individuals here that have really gone above and beyond volunteering to build a world that we all want to live in. And that includes people such as Ken and Carol Deal, Ron Macklem, Joe Cummings, and of course, Bill Durant. I think of him as the dean of volunteerism for Habitat here at Deerfield. And if he doesn't tell you himself, I will tell you that Bill contributed to the building of 219 houses in his career. Another terrific benefit of that great idea was coming in contact with so many wonderful staff from Habitat, especially here in Asheville, and that includes John Meadows and Sumaya Alatar, with whom I work every Monday out at New Heights. I won't go on to name all the other field personnel, but you may have seen in the local papers last month that Kenny Bush recently completed his responsibility for 100 houses built here in Western North Carolina, and that's really something. It's a pleasure to work with Kenny. More than that, even, is the ability to come in contact with future homeowners. And I at least know all the future homeowners of the Aging in Place by name, Ann Cox and Kay Ponder, Dougie and Barbara, and Donna Cook, and Laurel Hutton. And now I get to meet this morning, hopefully they're here, I haven't met them yet, Deborah Lewis Smith and Teresa Hyder. Oh, hi, welcome. So I would like to, I don't know where the keys are. Okay. From Habitat's website, I was able to extract some meet the homeowner information for Deborah Lewis Smith. Deborah is proud of the life she has cultivated in Asheville. Her social network, in addition to immediate family, ties her to this city. She has also found a community in her work at Brooks Howell, a continuing care retirement community. My work is meaningful, she says. I know that I contribute to the community. Deborah also enjoys volunteering and fostering animals. Deborah's prior living situation lacked the security and safety for her to comfortably remain in Asheville. Her rental cottage, which was built in 1915, needed serious maintenance. The owner declined to make repairs, such as the addition of a safety railing on the front steps, without a significant rate increase. Deborah was already cost burdened by rent, meaning she spent more than 30% of her income on housing. Although Deborah is frugal by nature, the pandemic and ensuing shutdown seriously hurt her finances. For Deborah, this home, this new home, this Aging in Place home will represent a fresh start and an opportunity to build equity. She looks forward to inviting her friends and family to visit in a space of her own. She says, I relish the thought of being able to enhance my living space and its exterior spaces. I am an avid container gardener. It will make a world of difference. It would be a source of pride. Deborah, would you please come up? Deborah, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to present you with this key on the behalf of Deerfield, the Deerfield Charitable Foundation, all of its residents, its volunteers, and the assembled people here. Welcome home. You can't get away.
I am a native of Asheville, and I'm looking at somebody right now who was a puppy when I first met him. Ernest Ferguson, thank you. Ernest was a puppy, and he's been very, very generous to our community. One thing I will say, in addition to the library, and we did hear from Ann this morning, she's down with a cold. But what happens when you've got a community is I was thinking about, what am I going to do about the gutters? I did not have my car unpacked until we got a group text from Donna Cook who said, I've talked to Gutter Guard, I'm negotiating with them, we have 4 identical houses, I'll get back to you, who's in? Now, when's the last time anybody here had your neighbors do that much for you? And that's just the aging in place people. It's a pleasure to have babies in the community. It's an active community. We've got dogs, we've got babies, we've got everything in between. So thank you very, very much. This is an opportunity I could not have anticipated. I had a lot of support. I had a lot of support from dear, dear friends and a fabulous family. And once again, thank you, Asheville. Thank you, Deerfield. We are all very, very grateful.
Bill Durant, people.
Well, it's an honor for me to be asked to be one of the key pastors. I asked Tim, Michelle, what I ought to say. They said, well, just give a few highlights of your career with Habitat. And he said, but limit it to an hour and a half. Well, anyhow, I started almost 20 years ago, and I have completed 219 houses before I had to retire last month. As soon as I get my back fixed, I hope I'm back out pounding nails again. Let me go back to the early days of Habitat. How many of you know who Clarence Jordan was? Okay, a few of you have. He was the forerunner to Millard Fuller. And he had a place called Koinonia down in Georgia. And his idea was to house and take care of people that couldn't do it for themselves. And he ran into an awful lot of trouble. And finally Millard Fuller joined him. And they got together, and that was the start of what is now Habitat for Humanity. And that was back in the 1960s. Now, as far as Clarence Jordan is concerned, the reason I brought that up is our own Ann Truesdale wrote a book about it. And she lives right here in Deerfield. And if you can get hold of that thing, I think you'll enjoy reading it. As far as my own career goes, the highlights of it were, I guess, the skills that I learned that weren't in the chemical engineering handbook when I was coming along. But I learned an awful lot about building houses, everything from using chainsaws to clear the lot to build the houses on, to changing the final lock and the key in the front door to give to the homeowner. So the skills that I learned have been very helpful for me because I was able to finish my own lower level in my own house. And if I do say so myself, it looked pretty professional. Second thing is the friendships that I made along the way. I've developed a lot of close friendships on that, and I thoroughly enjoyed the days that I went out and pounded the nails and got to fellowship with my friends. And I continue to make the friends on that, even in recruiting the people here from Deerfield to work on the Habitat homes. And the third thing is this warm feeling that I get when I turn over a key or see a new homeowner move into their new home. The smile on their face, it really warms your heart. Then I say, what was the single most important thing I ever did for Habitat? And that was when I recruited Tim Kurtz over there. Okay. What I'd like to do is to invite Teresa Hyder to come up, please. Let me give you a little bit of a bio on Teresa. During her application letter to Habitat, she said, "Life is meant to be lived, not just to survive. This is why I want to have a home of my own." Teresa is a natural caregiver. Teresa cared for her daughter through an extended illness and recovery, served as peacemaker among her neighbors, and dedicates many hours and earnings towards the constant TLC needed to maintain her mobile home. Now Teresa says it's time for her to take care of herself. For years, Teresa has worked towards a dream of home ownership, but could not find a home in a price range or quality for traditional financing. She and her daughter currently share a manufactured home designed for one person. She has little space for herself and has spent large amounts of her time and savings on maintenance, including new paint, windows, doors, and roofing. Teresa is ready to invest her industrial nature and caring energy into her very own home that is built to last. Teresa will be purchasing a brand new aging-in-place townhome in New Heights. These townhomes are built with universal design elements that will allow her to remain in one place as her needs change with age. She will also enjoy the benefits of having her own space and not having to worry about constant repairs. Teresa looks forward to the financial peace of mind and comfort that comes with home ownership, as well as the joys of bonding with her new neighbors. "I want to live a simple life to the fullest," she says. Teresa, let me present the keys to your new home. Let Teresa say a few words here.
I didn't realize I have to do a speech. No one kind of told me that.
Hold it a little closer.
Hold it closer? Okay. Thank you so much. This has been a great adventure. Actually has been an adventure. Started working on the house in May, and I just moved in 2 weeks ago. So, was afraid of ladders until I started working with Habitat. I was afraid of saws, not anymore. Learned how to nail, never done that before. I have put in windows in my mobile home, I did, but that was easy compared to what we do with real homes. I can't think of anything else, but thank you so much. It has been an adventure. In the classes, oh my gosh, what I learned in the classes, I had no clue. I didn't know how much money, I was blown away. And I thank you so much. Habitat is wonderful. Thank you.
Congratulations, Teresa.
I never, you know, I always feel like when I'm going to do one of these things that I need to have something inspirational to say, and I always walk away more inspired by the lives of the folks that are connected to our organization. What it takes, the courage that it takes to launch out into something new, and you know, we were talking about our vision with these aging in place units, but the vision that it takes to say, I deserve something better, and I'm going to work to make that happen. That motivates each one of our homeowners. I mean, that's a New Year's resolution for all of us to, you know, to name what it is that we want out of life, and then just go do whatever it takes, whether you're scared to get on the ladder or not. And the model of these volunteers who've put in so many hours of their life to a vision that they believe in. I can't add anything to that. That's what this work is all about. We're going to close in just a minute with some words that will maybe help us honor what we've done and commit ourselves to what's next. But I want to just take just a second before we do that and give you something real specific about what's next. So Michelle mentioned that we're not done building age-in-place townhomes. We're not done with Deerfield's partnership with Habitat. So we do have a new neighborhood that we're about to start. Like I said, we're just about done with this first phase of New Heights Drive in West Asheville. So there's literature back on the back table that'll tell you all about this new neighborhood that we're building in Arden, Glenbridge, that will also be this sort of intergenerational community that you've heard about today. And in recognition of the 8 families whose lives you have been a part of, I want to ask Michelle and Chris and Tim and Bill. I'm going to have you guys come up here too. We have put together just a little gift for the folks here, and it is a framed photo of all 8 homeowners and their homes. So Michelle, I'm going to let you have that. So welcome. And while I've got you all up here, I'm just going to, you can stand up here and help me as we go through this litany. So you don't need anything. I'm not going to make you do anything other than say that you're just going to say the same words over and over. We made this real simple because it got confusing. All you have to say is, we dedicate these homes, and I'm going to say everything else, and I'll point to you when you need to say that. And you know, this is an Episcopal crowd. You know how to do this sort of litany. So here we go. As a symbol of the loving concern that leads us to build a better future through partnership with Habitat for Humanity, we dedicate these homes. As a place where family life will be blessed, love will be felt, and peace will be experienced, we dedicate these homes. As a reminder of the homes yet to be built and families yet to be served, we dedicate these homes. And finally, as a community building hope for the future, with a vision of a world where everyone has a decent place to live, we dedicate these homes. Thank you all so much. It's been such a pleasure to be with all of you today. We're so grateful for your part in partnership with these families and investing in this dream. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a happy 2023.